All right, to our first conversation now. According to Henley and Partners, that's a research firm that focuses on residence and citizenship by investment. They're looking at opportunities right there in Africa. The report ranked a couple of African countries to identify locations that offer the best ecosystems for future generations to maximize their career prospects and prosperity. And we see South Africa leading the chart there with about 30%. The wealthiest countries also illustrate how families from these nations can improve their life chances and future-proof the next generation through investment. And we see Nigeria coming in there about 14%. Egypt, third at 22%. When you look at total opportunity score by country, and we see Cote d'Ivoire also at 14 points. Ethiopia is the lowest there, 10% at this time. Well, join us for this conversation. Right now we have Emmanuel Nossum. He's a lead partner, Cardinal Professional Services Limited, joining me right here in the studio. It's great to have you.
It's great to have you, Larry.
Fantastic handshake. Been a long time, definitely, and we know everyone's looking for better opportunities. Even the birds, the birds, we know when they know the seasons have come for maybe drought or something, they end up flying another direction. And human beings are no different. So looking at this data, we see the likes of South Africa with an earning potential of about 41 points, career advancement 30 points, economic mobility, but we see Nigeria 22 points. When you look at the overall career advancement, just 9 points. So I guess that says a lot about the Japa syndrome that we're seeing.
Yeah, the truth, you want to agree with me that every human being is competitive in nature,
right.
And naturally everybody wants to move in the direction of opportunity. And I believe that's why this conversation is very, very important, because that report is actually something that I believe that the government needs to sit on and begin to reflect on how to make the environment more conducive for its own people, first to stay, and also to attract talent and investment into the economy. The Nigeria Opportunity Index, 14%, actually underscores some primary problems that we may be facing in the economy. Look at career advancement at 2%. That means the environment presents from the report, presents little or no opportunity to advance your career as an average person, and that is not far-fetched when you connect it with the average expectation of anybody coming out of the university. Everybody is just looking for how to get masters either outside of Nigeria or how to just get out of Nigeria so that they can have equal opportunity and get the best for themselves. So this is a report that I believe coming out from Ellen and Partner, just like you rightly said, that underscore the most critical aspects of the economy that government needs to look into if of a truth you must get the kind of results that you want to get. Let me tell you something of a fact. You may have the best policy, you may have the best strategy. If you don't have the best people waiting behind to support you with the deployment and implementation of your strategy as an economy, you are not going anywhere.
Right, and definitely talking about career advancement, another thing they looked at was the lack of access to premium
education.
Education. And you did mention, everyone trying to go and get a master, out of the country and all of that. So looking at the body language, of this government and past governments, definitely we see that there's no attention, not much attention when it comes to education. And this is playing a crucial role, in this report.
Yeah, according to United Nations, one of the indices to determine whether an environment is going to be sustainable or going to be ever prosperous is how well the environment pays attention to education. Maybe for some political reason in the past, our political class may have found opportunities in, under-educating our people or keeping them as illiterate. But it's time for us to rethink some of these things from a sustainable perspective as a nation, to say, if as a nation we must be prosperous, then one of the first things that we must get right is putting the right infrastructure in place to prosper education. You understand? Moving from the northwest to the northeast, down to the south-south, southeast, and then southwest, the education infrastructure has to be revamped for sustainability and for prosperity as a nation if we must strive. Right,
and definitely we're still struggling with minimum wage. At this time, and the kind of wage that we should
any
pay.
potential.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely, looking at this tussle between the government and Labour, and we still have that tripartite committee trying to get that sweet spot when it comes to minimum wage. How much does this report rely on what they come up with when it comes to the right minimum wage?
Maybe the frank conversation we need to ask ourselves is that how many people can really survive in the Nigeria that we have today based on the common minimum wage structure that we have, if they won't have to do any shady arrangement? You understand? And if you look at it, if you are not opportune or you are not privileged to be at the avenue where shady transactions can come in your favor, then that means the environment is not attractive for you. And that begs a fundamental question about our environment. Our environment seems to be very relationship driven, where people access opportunity based on the people they know. And that is the underlying factor why many people are migrating out of this country, having evaluated the strength of their relationships. So if I look at the strength of my relationship and the assets that I have, will I be able to augment my income because I'm unable to earn a living wage? So they make a decision and say, let me go to an environment where the earning potential is a bit higher, and I can maybe on a merit-based basis earn some income that can actually put food on my table and give me some sense of living, even as a professional or as individual. So as long as we continue to keep our people at a wage level that is below the living wage, what we are telling our people is that if you don't have the right relationship that can help you access additional income, pack your bags and live to an environment that can give you a living wage.
Without relationships.
Without relationship. That is the reality. That is just the sad reality of our side. Nigeria is a relationship-based economy.
Relationships play out in other clients, but
not at the expense of merit.
Right.
Nigeria is an environment where, your friends will give you opportunity and show you the person that will help you to do that.
Quite interesting. But looking at where we are, at this point, does everything rely on what the government does, at this point? Because, we keep talking about the government has to do this, the government has to do that. And we know the Nigerian government, they talk about their own problems at this time, not enough revenue. Some say maybe it's not a revenue problem, maybe it's a spending problem. We need to look at where we're spending, at this time. Talk to me about how we as a people can actually make this happen.
On this particular matter, improving the opportunity index, largely, I will be very frank with you, the responsibility lies on the government. It is the responsibility of the government to make your environment attractive. You understand? Starting from policy, ensuring that you have the right people to implement policy. Statistic has it from MBS that Nigeria has consistently losing in excess of $10 billion to migration since 2010. You understand? You give your people almost free education at university level, only to allow them to go.
And I see most countries make a lot of money from denying visas.
You understand? So
denying
Nigerians visa, and
we lose a lot of money to that.
Look at the tax revenue that you have lost, having not retained your people, and you migrated that tax revenue to another jurisdiction. Those kind of conversations are there, and the government has to, do something different to look at these several indices that have been measured and say, what can we do more pragmatically? To make this environment attractive. Maybe very little. The organized private sector can also do, something, but the organized private sector is a competitive sector. Investment will only move in the direction of opportunity. If I know that I will come and put my money in Nigeria and there's no experts available, all of them are in UK or Canada, nobody, I will then have to be securing expatriates to come and do the job at a very high cost. So all this indices...
So we're still sending money out and still importing everything.
Still importing everything. So everything largely lies on the desk of the table of the government to see to it that these indices that have been called out, career advancement, earning potential, quality of education, employment prospect, high livability, how easy for people to live in your environment, how safe, those criteria are those things that contribute to whether talent will migrate in your direction, investment will migrate in your direction, opportunities will migrate in your direction.
Now we need all of that migration to Nigeria, at this point. Thank you so much. Emmanuel Nossimi, lead partner, Cardinal Professional Services, LLP. Always great having you on the show.
Thank you, Ladi. Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we head straight to the markets. That's the moment. Do stay with us.